To recommend this documentary, I watched close to 10 various documentary films, both from English and Hindi language.
There are days when you wonder what your role is in this country and what your future is in it.
Those were some of the best documentaries ever, covering some really important topics from our society. But I personally would like to talk about Brian Fogel's The Dissident.
Okay. جمال خاشقجي جمال أحمد خاشقجي كاتب ومؤلف سعودي.
It is obviously not the best shot or edited documentary out there, but for me personally, the intention of the filmmaker and the film matters a lot. And Brian Fogel's intention for this film was nothing shorter than showing us how fast the world around us is changing, for the worse, about which he said in his Oscar speech for the Best Documentary Feature at the 2018 Academy Awards, which he got for his first documentary, Icarus.
We hope Icarus is a wake-up call, yes, about Russia, but more than that, about the importance of telling the truth, now more than ever.
First, a little background about the filmmaker Brian Fogel. He was a playwright, and in 2012 he made a film named Utopia, which is an adaptation of his hit and long-running off-Broadway play by the same name, but it bombed in the theaters. Then the professional road racing cyclist Lance Armstrong's scandal uncovered about taking banned performance-enhancing drugs in a way that would evade detection from drug testing and caught Brian's attention since Lance Armstrong was Brian's childhood hero.
I think I'm a year and a half younger than Lance. He was kind of my hero.
I mean, this is the guy who got so fascinated by this idea that he himself tried those drugs on him for 2 months with the help of Gregory Rychenkov, the director of Russia's National Anti-Doping Laboratory. And from there, everything started off, and Icarus was made. By the way, if you haven't seen Icarus yet, then what are you even doing?
I'm getting ready for the single hardest amateur cycling event in the world. It's basically a miniature Tour de France for insane people.
Does it qualify for anything if you do well with it?
Yeah, stupidity.
He then went on to cycle the Haute Route twice, once totally clean, in which he came 14th out of 500 cyclists, and then the next year cycled for the second time and doped the hell out of himself with performance-enhancing substances. He was expecting to be in the top 10 rankings the second time, but it did not go as planned. However, in the process he met Gregory Rychenkov, with whom he unraveled the biggest doping scandal in all of sports history. Later on, the IOC banned Russia from the Pyeongchang Olympics Games in 2018 and cited Icarus as one of the main reasons behind the decision. Now that's huge. His latest documentary, The Dissident, covers yet again a few of the most critical subjects in the 21st century, when basic human rights around us are either being suppressed or misused for the power's own good. When one of the senior most journalists of the Washington Post and editor-in-chief of Al Arab News Channel, Jamal Khashoggi, suddenly disappears from the Saudi Arabia consulate in Turkey. Jamal Khashoggi was writing in the Washington Post reprehending Donald Trump and the Saudi regime. He was constantly criticizing US-Saudi relationship. Meanwhile, he was also working with the Saudi dissident Omar Abdulaziz in Canada, who was fighting Saudi Arabia's control over Twitter, which is a big part of the film. Jamal Khashoggi also came out speaking that he didn't agree with a lot of parts of Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's, who is also known as MBS Vision 2030, which is his concept of reforming the kingdom. Not to forget, Khashoggi used to work as the media advisor to Saudi Prince Turki bin Faisal once upon a time. Jamal Khashoggi was not even a liberal. He was a moderate who loved his country. The Dissident is a story of human rights. It's a story of freedom of speech. It's a story of freedom of journalism and cyber hacking. But it is also a personal story about the brutal murder of a senior journalist who goes missing the day he and his fiancée goes to the Saudi Arabia consulate in Turkey to obtain the documents related to his planned marriage, and the guy does not return, ever. It's the story of a 28-year-old dissident Omar Abdulaziz who is fighting for the freedom of speech for his country while living in Canada. Meanwhile, he says his brother and 23 of his cousins are sitting in jail in Saudi Arabia with no charges, but Omar cannot even go back to his own country and do anything about it. Brian Fogel revealed that while shooting Omar's part for the documentary, Omar learns that his 19-year-old brother's been tortured and had his teeth knocked out just for doing nothing other than knowing Omar. On 11 December 2018, about 9 weeks after Jamal Khashoggi's assassination, He was named Time magazine's Person of the Year for his work in journalism, along with other journalists who faced political persecution for their work. Time magazine referred to Khashoggi as the guardian of the truth. This is not an easy, neither safe topic to pick and talk about for a filmmaker. Forget about making a 117-minute feature documentary about it. Director Brian Fogel and his creative team also stepped up the game here by shooting it and giving it a thriller feel. By the way it is scored, the sound design, the tempo, the narrative, on some level it has been crafted like the Bourne Identity, keeping you on pins and needles the whole time. Director Brian Fogel in an interview talked about the Sundance screening of the film. Hillary Clinton was present in the audience. Jamal Khashoggi's fiancée, Hatisha Cengiz, was there too. The film received standing ovations, tears rolling down the eyes of the audiences. And still, not a single major global streamer stepped up and gave a single dollar, let alone acquiring the film by the director, who won the Academy Award for his last film. The Dissident arguably had the best reviews of any films out of Sundance. Interestingly, Jamal Khashoggi was Jeff Bezos' employee because he used to write for the Washington Post and Jeff Bezos owns the paper. Secondly, Jeff Bezos' phone was hacked by Saudi Arabia. That's a whole another story maybe for later. Still, Amazon Prime did not pick up the film to stream on their platform. I know, there's Coolie #1 on Amazon Prime. I don't see anyone going to jail for that. Although The Dissident is available on Prime, but one can only access it through video on demand, so you can rent it or buy it, but not stream it, like a regular Prime original film, which makes the film less attainable for the extensive audience. All this keeping in mind that Brian Fogel's first documentary Icarus is on Netflix and apparently has over 700 million watches, as disclosed by the director. 700 million. Documentaries can have a huge impact on how the world functions around the topic of the film after its reception. For example, the narrative of dolphin captivity and cruel hunting methods in Taiji, Japan was given the light by 2010 Academy Award winning documentary The Cove, which instigated many debates and changes in the laws on dolphin captivity and their import. Overall, Japan's countrywide dolphin catch was down to 6,000 per year in 2015 from 23,000 before the film's release in 2009. Now that's something. Or the impact the 2013 documentary Blackfish had, which is called The Blackfish Effect. Give it a read. I can go on for hours on these examples, but nobody wants that. So you should squeeze a watch like Icarus or The Dissident in between your Coolie #1s and Big Bosses, or between your The Kissing Booth and the Star Pack Disaster, the last thing he wanted. It will help us all learn a thing or two. Now, I'm not going to say this is the best documentary out there, but I feel it is one of the most important ones. Doesn't matter what your palate of film taste is. It is gut-wrenching, and you will also leave this film with both good and bad taste in your mouth. Now, why is that? Figure out yourself. I wanted to do my part in spreading the word about it by making this video. And even if one person sees this documentary or Icarus for that matter, then my job here is done. Because as the man said,
We hope Icarus is a wake-up call, yes, about Russia, but more than that, about the importance of telling the truth. Now more than ever.
I would like to end this video here with a line from Satyajit Ray's book Our Films, Their Films, which goes like, "Art wedded to the truth must in the end have its reward." Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like, comment or subscribe if you like this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.